United States drops 30,000 pounds bunker buster on Iran. At exactly 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time, a massive object falls from the sky high above the Zagros Mountains. A 30,000-pound block of hardened steel disconnects from the belly of a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. It falls at terminal velocity, screaming down at 700 miles per hour toward one single destination: the Fordo nuclear facility, buried 200 feet under solid granite. This is not a drill. It is the most complex air operation in over 20 years. On one side, you have the most heavily defended airspace in the Middle East. On the other, you have a ghost, a $2.1 billion aircraft that effectively does not exist on radar. Iranian crews scan their screens for a threat, but they are too late. The threat is already overhead. Inside the cockpit, the pilot sees the confirmation: weapon away. Separation good. The massive bomber jumps upward, losing the weight of 3 school buses in a split second, 43 seconds to impact. This is not just a bombing run, it is a statement written in high explosives. For decades, this facility was considered untouchable, immune to standard bombs. But tonight, the laws of physics are about to change. The generals below believe they are safe under their mountain. They have no idea that the midnight hammer has already fallen. If you want to see exactly how the United States dismantles a nuclear program in less than 30 minutes, hit subscribe right now. Let's back up 18 hours to understand the stakes. To really grasp why this moment is so terrifying, you have to understand the target itself. This is Fordo. It is not just a factory, it is a fortress. The Iranians built it deep inside a mountain for a very specific reason. It is protected by 200 feet of reinforced concrete and layers of solid, ancient rock. They built this place to survive an apocalypse. If you drop standard 2,000-pound bombs against this, they would just scratch the paint. It is like throwing pebbles at a heavy tank. That is exactly why the United States Air Force is not using standard bombs tonight. The aircraft carrying this payload is the B-2 Spirit. Only 19 of them exist in the entire active fleet. Each one costs a staggering $2.1 billion. To put that massive number in perspective, if you built a plane out of solid gold, it would effectively cost less than this machine. The pilot flying it knows that one tiny mistake, one sensor failure, or one lucky shot from the ground does not just mean mission failure. It means handing the enemy the most advanced technology America possesses. It is a gamble with the highest stakes imaginable. The weapon is the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. It is not just a bomb, it is a kinetic nightmare. Imagine a fully loaded freight train hitting a brick wall at the speed of sound. That is the raw energy we are talking about. It delivers 1.5 billion joules of energy on impact. The goal here isn't just to blow things up on the surface. It is to create a localized earthquake deep underground. The mission planners aren't just looking for damage. They are looking for total erasure. This mission is about sending a message that no place on Earth is safe from American reach. But before this hammer can drop, the door has to be kicked open. And that dangerous job belongs to a captain sitting 1,200 miles away, hidden in the darkness, 60 feet underwater. 2 hours before the B-2 bombers even approach the target, the real war begins deep under the surface. The Persian Gulf is pitch black above, but 60 feet down, the USS Georgia is lurking in the silence. This vessel used to be a ballistic missile submarine designed to end the world with nuclear warheads. Now, it has a different job. It is a street brawler. Converted for $700 million, it now packs 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles. That is more raw firepower than an entire aircraft carrier strike group carries on its escort ships combined. Inside the control room, the air is freezing cold because submariners keep it that way to protect the sensitive electronics. The captain stands there watching the digital clock tick toward 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. There are no dramatic speeches here. There is no shouting, just a quiet order given over the comms. Launch. A sailor presses a button. It takes less than a second, but that single moment triggers a chain reaction that fights against physics itself. Launching a missile underwater is not like a video game. It is a brutal fight against Isaac Newton. Newton's third law says every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When you punch a 3,000-pound missile out of a vertical tube, the submarine wants to go down, and it wants to go down fast. The ballast control team has to react instantly. They are pumping tons of water between tanks in mere seconds to keep the ship level. If they are too slow, the sub sinks to crushed depth where the pressure will kill them all. If they are too fast, the sub pops up to the surface like a cork, visible to every radar for 50 miles. It is a dance on the edge of disaster. Suddenly, the water breaks. Whoosh! The first Tomahawk screams out of the ocean at 50 feet per second. The solid rocket booster ignites, creating a pillar of fire in the dark ocean night. Then another one follows, and another. In just 60 seconds, 30 missiles are airborne. They do not fly high like planes. They drop down to treetop height, staying just 100 feet off the ground. They are like two 0-foot-long homing pigeons with jet engines. The USS Georgia dives back into the deep, vanishing into the thermal layers of the ocean to hide. Her job is done. The missiles are on their way. The flight time to the target is exactly 127 minutes. They are timed to arrive exactly 30 minutes before the bombers overhead. The alarm clock is ticking. While the Tomahawks are hugging the terrain below to avoid detection, a massive armada is sweeping the skies directly above them. This is the largest coordinated air package since the invasion of Iraq. Over 60 aircraft are building a highway in the sky, a protected corridor 50 miles wide and 200 miles deep where American planes can fly untouched. Leading the pack are 4 F-22 Raptors cruising at 50,000 feet. The lead pilot checks in with a code that means everything is safe. Disco 47, picture clean. Translation: there is nothing in the sky that can touch us. Behind them, the EA. 1-8G Growlers turn on their jamming pods. This is invisible warfare at its finest. They pump out 30 kilowatts of noise into the atmosphere. On the ground, Iranian radar screens go crazy. Operators see ghost planes everywhere. Hundreds of them appear and disappear. Then nothing but static. It is like trying to have a conversation at a rock concert while screaming into a pillow. But at 5:32 p.m., an Iranian S-300 battery near Natanz makes a fatal mistake. The operator tries to burn through the jamming. He turns his high-power radar on to find a target. Bad move. Instantly, an F-35 detects the signal. It acts as the sensor in this deadly game. It passes the data to an F-18 Super Hornet flying behind it, the shooter. The F-18 launches an AGM-88 HARM missile. The missile screams in at Mach 2.5, faster than a rifle bullet. The Iranian operator realizes his mistake. He shuts down the radar 15 seconds later, hoping to hide. But it is too late. The missile has a memory. It knows where you live. Boom. A $100 million air defense system turns into a burning pile of scrap metal. The Super Hornets work in pairs, one designating targets while the wingman engages. When mobile systems attempt to relocate, F-35 sensors track their movements through heat signatures, vectoring the Super Hornets for quick intercepts. The integration between 4th and 5th generation fighters proves devastating. Stealth platforms serve as sensors, while legacy fighters act as heavy shooters. By 5:35 p.m., the mission had expended 31 missiles, achieving an equal number of radars and surface-to-air missile sites destroyed. More importantly, every surviving radar has gone silent. The psychological effect multiplies the kinetic damage. Iranian operators trained to fear American capabilities since Desert Storm are paralyzed. They turn their radars off and leave them off. They choose survival over duty. The Growlers shift to communications jamming, targeting military frequencies. Ground control channels fill with static. Even cell phone networks in the target areas experience disruption as military jammers spill over into civilian bands. The F-22s maintain high cover, searching for any brave Iranian pilot who might launch. None do. The sky is now silent. The highway is open, but the B-2 pilots are still sweating. They have been flying for 15 hours straight, and they are about to try something that sounds impossible. Here is the strategic twist that the enemy intelligence officers completely missed. When the B-2 bombers taxied out of Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri 18 hours ago, not all of them turned east toward the target. A second group of stealth bombers banked hard to the west, heading straight for the Pacific Ocean. Why would they do that? It was a calculated trick designed to fool the spies watching from above. Russian and Chinese satellites tracked those bombers moving toward Guam and reported a standard Pacific training exercise. They stopped paying attention to the Atlantic. While the world watched the decoy hand, the real strike force vanished into the darkness of the East, completely undetected. But getting a stealth bomber to the Middle East and back without stopping requires a feat of pilot skill that borders on insanity. The math simply does not work without mid-air refueling. And doing it at night, over the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, is one of the most dangerous things a pilot can do. The B-2 is a flying wing, which makes it naturally unstable. The tanker is a KC-135 Stratotanker, a modified airliner full of jet fuel. Connecting a metal boom to a moving plane at 400 knots is hard enough in broad daylight. Doing it in heavy turbulence, in total darkness, with absolute radio silence, it is like trying to thread a needle while riding a mechanical bull inside a dark closet. The boom operator in the tanker is just 30 feet away. If the B-2 pilot moves just 6 inches the wrong way, the metal boom could smash the delicate stealth coating on the bomber's skin. That is not just a scratch. That is a mission failure for a $2 billion asset. The pilot flies with surgical precision, taking on fuel at a rate of 1,000 pounds every single minute. The boom operator sweats bullets despite the freezing air outside. But they do it. The tanks are full. The path is clear. The deception worked perfectly. Now, the Tomahawks are arriving at their targets, and the real show is about to begin. At 5:05 p.m. Eastern Time, the night shift workers at the Isfahan facility hear a strange sound cutting through the air. It is a high-pitched whine, like a jet engine, but it is flying too low. Before anyone can react, the first Tomahawk missile slams into the uranium hexafluoride storage building with terrifying precision. It is not just an explosion, it is a chemical release. Tons of toxic gas blow into the air, creating a cloud that makes the facility uninhabitable. Then the next missile hits. And the next. 29 more impacts follow in just 45 seconds. The facility is poisoned, but the main event is still 30,000 feet above it. Back at 5:40 p.m., the B-2 bombers are now directly over Fordo. The weapons bay doors open. The pilot hears the confirmation. Doors open. Master arm on. The first GBU, 5.7 massive ordnance penetrator drops free from the belly of the aircraft. For a moment, it hangs there in the thin air. Then gravity takes over, and 30,000 pounds of hardened steel begins its date with the laws of physics. The pilot feels the aircraft jump upward as the weight releases. Losing the weight of 3 school buses instantly creates a sensation you can feel in your gut. The bomb does not explode when it hits the ground. That would be a waste of its potential. It hits the mountain at 700 miles per hour. The steel casing punches through the solid granite like a nail going through drywall. It goes down 50 feet, then 100 feet. It reaches the reinforced concrete of the bunker below. It punches through that too. The smart fuse counts down as it bores through the rock, waiting for the precise moment of maximum effect. Finally, 180 feet underground, it detonates. 5,300 pounds of high explosives go off in a confined space. The shockwave has nowhere to go. It travels through the solid rock, finding every crack and seam. The concrete walls are designed to withstand 10,000 pounds of pressure. This bomb delivers 100,000 pounds. The concrete does not just crack. It literally turns into powder. Above ground, the mountain shakes violently. A 2.3 magnitude earthquake registers on local sensors. But one bomb is not enough. The mission planners know this. That is why 12 of them are slated for Fordo. Each impact point is calculated to create overlapping shockwaves, turning the mountain's own strength against itself. From the ground, it looks like artificial meteor strikes. Flashes of light followed by thunder that rolls across the mountains. At Natanz, the strike profile is different, but just as deadly. Only 2 massive bombs target this facility because it is not as deeply buried. The weapons officers actually have to delay the release to ensure proper spacing. Dropping 2 30,000-pound bombs too close together would reduce effectiveness as their blast waves interfere. Meanwhile, 700 miles away, the remaining Tomahawks enter their terminal phase. Each missile activates its nose camera, comparing what it sees with stored imagery. It is like having a map that cannot be jammed or confused. The integration is flawless. While Iranian air defenses focus on the high-altitude stealth bombers, 30 sea-launched cruise missiles are sneaking through the back door at treetop height. The B-2S have already begun their turn toward home. At 5:45 p.m., just 5 minutes after the final impact, the B-2S bank hard to the left. They are heading home. The fuel computers show exactly enough gas to reach the next tanker. Behind them, 3 nuclear sites are burning in the night. The sensors record the damage. Target destroyed, 100%. Let's look at the scoreboard. Total time over target was 25 minutes. US aircraft lost was 0. Iranian missiles fired was 0. It was a perfect shutout. The element of surprise was absolute. In less than half an hour, the United States military did what politicians argued about for 20 years. The Iranian nuclear program has been reset to 0. It will take them a decade just to dig out the rubble. But the message goes far beyond Iran. It travels to Moscow and Beijing. The message is simple. We can reach you. We can break your deepest bunkers, and you will never even see us coming. The B-2 Spirit might cost $1 billion, but tonight, it paid for itself. Yet, technology moves fast. The B-2 is actually old tech. The Air Force is already building its replacement, the B-21 Raider. If the old plane could do this, imagine what the new guy can do. This was just a reminder. The next one won't be a warning. Thanks for watching.